Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Saul and Madre Tortura to the show from Drakonis. How are you, lads?
Very good.
Very good, thank you. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, thanks a million for coming on the show. Yes, there's been a few gigs you've been involved with lately. I'm sure since COVID, Saul, your head must have been wrecked, especially the fact that you couldn't do your proper launch of the album. And so maybe you could just briefly bring us up to speed in relation to what that was like for you personally, not being able to do the launch and then having to wait, what, nearly a year and a half, was it?
No,
Was it longer?
it's over 2 years,
2 years, yeah.
two and a
Okay.
half years.
Jesus.
The
Mental.
one positive is that at some point we'll probably be able to be one of the only bands to say we're doing an album launch / 3-year anniversary. And nobody else can say that.
No,
No,
absolutely not. No.
I was saying to James Loveday, runs the Distortion Project gigs up
Shout
here
out to
about it, and
James.
he 100% wants to do that. He's like, that's brilliant. No, but honestly, it came at the worst time. We released our debut album the same week that COVID launched their debut album. And I mean, all of our PR that would pay it into and all the advertising, everything just went because the whole world was talking about that. We didn't show up in any news feeds. It just went.
Oh,
And that was
fucking hell. Yeah.
10 years. I was working on that album 10 years for
My
it to
God.
just go, no. And then when things are finally opened up again, we're in a bit of an awkward spot because it's like you don't want to just instantly jump on the new material, a new album when there's a 10 years worth of, songs out there that technically I can't even count it as released, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna push to re-release it with along with new stuff alongside it. Maybe as one big like deluxe version of re-release album with an extra maybe 5 songs, or I don't know. There's a lot of things we're gonna do.
Yeah. You were supposed to do the launch show with, was it Oracle and Molar Bear, was it? Can you remember
Yeah,
back that
yeah.
far? Yeah. And then after that, then you lost how many members of the band?
Over lockdown. Well, there was Steph, the old bass player.
Hmm.
She wanted to step out sort of for a long time. Like she does
Okay.
semi-professional bodybuilding, so like every single time it was her prep time for shows, it would come up to us being offered festivals, so it wasn't really going to work.
Okay.
Her sister was sort of doing keyboards for us, just helping out. So obviously she wasn't going to go around, but we used backing tracks anyway, so it didn't make a big impact. But the main thing was our singer Steve. Want to step back? It wasn't in any way for bad reasons. It was just for a long time he's been studying to get into like computer programming and was offered like a really good job.
Okay.
And he just really needed to focus on this and was had respect that he needed to put music on the back burner, and there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. It's turned out sort of, I feel, for the best anyway, because we get to evolve with each release, and now we've got this lady here who absolutely just wrecks the place, which is going to do.
Yeah, Madre, you were aware of Draconis before you joined the band?
I was, yes. I had been following Draconis for a while, just local gigs and all that. And I always liked the band. And actually remember when I saw them live the first time, I thought, oh wow, this is the kind of band that I would like to join if I ever went back into making music. I had been away from making music for many years due to, work
Yeah.
and parenthood.
Yeah.
So
Happens so, Saul.
yeah, so then when I read that Steve had left Draconis and that Draconis were looking for new vocalist, for new
Hmm.
front person, then I said, "Ah, why not?" So they give me a couple of auditions, and eventually now here we are.
Yes, brilliant story. Out of the bad comes the good sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we've seen it as the perfect opportunity that every release we've done has been a different sort of style and different visual and different backstory, and this just seemed like the perfect thing to do.
yeah,
And we auditioned several people, and there were some amazing people that went forward that we could have like went with any of them, and it would have been great. But as soon as she came in, like, the thing that sold me was she says, "Can we do a Cryptopsy cover?" And I said, "Can you sing like that?" And she was like, "Yes." And I went, "Well, do you want another edition? Because this is what I want to hear, you know."
Yeah, yeah. And like you still retain the Drakonis DNA, you know, which is the most important part. And how have you been finding the shows, Madre, in relation to, how many have you played now? Two, is it, or three?
Two so far. Oh, loving it. I'm loving it. I can't wait for the next one, really. So can't wait for Cork.
Yeah, big time. And we'll just talk about, was it the first show, was that with Migla Cosgra? Was that it? Was that the...
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was your debut gig. Wow. Well, I mean, as debut gigs go, like...
Go big or go home, as they say.
Yes, indeed. And but was there, I'd imagine there might have been some nerves beforehand, or were you okay?
No, it was, even though it had been a lot of years since I had been on stage, but to see whenever you are on stage, it's like second nature, really. I
Class.
was a bit tentative the days beforehand, not on the day. I was a bit tentative. I was like, have I still got it? But then see, whenever you're on stage, it's like, yeah, I like this.
Magic happens, yeah. And had
Yeah.
you probably had a lot of time to rehearse all before that show, yeah?
Oh, a
No,
couple of
not
months.
really. No, we got offered it and we weren't sure where we were going to take it because we from her joining, we maybe had what, 4 practices to learn all of the stuff.
I think
And we've forgotten all the stuff because we hadn't played in like 2 years over lockdown.
Right,
So we
okay.
had to start from scratch and with a new bass player. So it was just, but then because of who it was, I'd seen Migla live before and they're like the tightest band I've ever seen. And it was like, if there's a band of support to make us up our shit, it's them because you look really terrible beside that band if you haven't got it together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't even have time to really even say who our new members were. So that was the fun part because before we went on, everybody was asking who's the singer, who's the new singer. It's like, I'm not
Class.
going to tell you. And it says, you'll fucking know when you see. And then out she walks with just the big Victorian dress and walks in, and everybody's looking at her, she's going, "Oh my God, the female fronted now." And then we just went straight in and afterwards going, and then she disappeared and took the stuff off. And it's like, where'd she go? Because I'm not telling you.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And
It's
like
funny.
again, Madrid, there's so many elements to your costume even.
Yeah.
Can you just maybe talk us through what made you kind of go for that look in particular?
Oh well, it was a common. We all agreed on that look, and we were thinking of taking a lot more of a theatrical stance
Okay.
and making our shows more not just about music but also about performance. And to do this, also we're thinking a lot about the visuals and how we're actually going to relate to
Yes.
the audience. And visual performance has its own importance as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Wayne did a fantastic job. Shout out to Wayne with the group photographs that she put
Yeah,
up
a couple of
lately.
weeks ago, they turned out really, really well. It was so quick
Yeah.
and easy to do. We didn't really have to spend much time. It was just
Hmm.
it was the right location, the right outfits, and just it sort of worked really well.
Yeah.
But one thing about Madre Tortura's outfit, thematically, the one reason we sort of lent into that as well is from the last album, it was a concept album, and Steve was the vocalist, and he was more of like a Jim Jones pastor type, but through the story, he's getting manipulated by a female demonic spirit. And through the last song, it's basically this is who it was. So thematically, it works absolutely perfect. And then when we do new music videos, it'll all tie in, and people will go, "Oh, they planned this all along."
Jesus, absolutely class, isn't it?
It all falls in together. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of planning for years of this stuff.
So you then supported a band that I saw over in Brutal Assault, Imperial Triumphant. How did that
Yeah.
come about, first of all, and what was it like seeing a band like them? Because they are very unique.
I think it came about the promoter. We've worked with him lots of times before.
James, does
Johnny
it?
McKee. No, it was Johnny McKee.
Oh, Johnny McKee.
Um,
Shout out to Johnny, yeah.
and he a lot of times in the past he had put shows on with bands that look like each other. It doesn't even matter if they're the same style. And he must have seen her headpiece and their thing and went, obviously. But it really did work out because if you mix us and Gravity Well, the opening band, together, it was Imperial Triumphant. It was really, really strange. It was like a ramp up through the night.
Yeah.
It worked really well. But that's how we got it. And it was like a strange mix. But they were just so... One of the most interesting bands I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was incredibly, like, pure showmanship. It was amazing. And I was watching them going, I wish we'd have thought of that.
Yeah, well, you know, you can certainly be inspired by it. Madre, what were your impressions of Imperial?
Wow. I had been, obviously, I was curious about this band that we were going to support. I had not heard of them before. And I listened to their albums, and they were quite difficult to follow. So I thought, well, they must be something really interesting live then.
Yeah.
And so it was. And so it was. They're a band that works incredibly well live. They're amazing musicians. They have such... I could just I wanted to go home and burn all my basses because I play bass in my spare time. And I just said, okay, I'm just done with it.
Yeah.
Because they're so good. They're so good. And they put on an amazing show. They were also really nice people to deal with, just nice individuals.
Yeah, and that's half the battle, really, isn't it? You know, you'd like to hear stuff like that, especially considering you were the support band, and for the main headliners to be pretty fucking sound, just good. Yeah,
it's very important, and they were just very, very easy to deal with.
Yeah. So Saul, you were saying there in relation to a media post I saw that, like, expect bigger, heavier, more eccentric material on the horizon. It will be, of course, it's going to be another concept piece, the next recording, and you signed it off, The Wretched. Is that actually going to be the title of it, or?
No, we started signing off stuff like that before because it was sort of a collective term for like the band members due to a song title in the past.
Oh, okay. A bit like Andy from The Crawling always saying, "Stay miserable."
Oh yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
No, but going forward, we're at a sort of crossroads because we've talked a lot, and we'd like to change a wee bit of re-release, and for the next one, we're at a crossroads of these different ways to go. Where what we'll have to really commit to, and how do we make it into a concept that has to sound right? We're like, for 1 minute we're going, no, we'll have to sound like big grand stadium version of like Emperor, and then we're going, no, it has to be like Keep It Classing and unbelievably technical and with death metal bits, and then we'll completely change our mind and go, no, let's go and do a bit of folk metal, and it's all over the place in a minute, but it'll become obvious at some point which is the way to go. But it just has to be different than what we did before. I would be really upset if it sounded anything like the last album.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just needs to.
Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll play a bit of From the Eternal.
From antiquity
That's From the Eternal of Blessed by Embers. Still sounds great, lads. Is that a particular song, Saul, that you love playing live?
It's just lots of different pieces, like especially as it goes on, it sort of goes as we brought in a lot of church organ and then like African djembe drums and stuff. It was very fun to produce, especially this very last bit with like big war horns and stuff like that. But we haven't played it live before, so Cork will be the first time. It's the most, out of all the songs in the album, it's the most complicated to put together with all the back and vocal samples and everything. So we think we're ready for it.
And what about Madre? Are you ready for it's quite a challenge, that song.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think for me, just as a vocalist, the most challenging song is Threnody.
Okay.
Because it has a lot of variety, and vocally it has a lot of variety, and it's just something that, although it sounds absolutely fantastic as an opening, but it's so hard for a vocalist. So From the Eternal, I'm very excited actually to be playing it live. And Threnody, was it the first time that was played live at all last Monday? So so we didn't do too bad. So I think we can do From the Eternal as well.
Yes. So the reason why we're on this show as well tonight is to promote Relapse. They have a big show coming up next Saturday. It's on the 27th, as I said, and it's called Ihe on Doulahan. Would that be pronounced right? Fucking Irish. Big shout out to James O'Mahony. It's an extreme metal night, and we'll have Drakonis on it, Horrenda, Ever Deadwood, and Hersine. So, and it's bring your own beer as well, lads. So, what can I say? It's going to be in a big church. I think the church is, St. Peter's Church is 12th century church. So it's a pretty historic night for Cork metal, I think, to have something like that. Are you excited to be involved with it?
Yeah, we're bringing a fan, so we've got like tons of stage props and stuff and everything, and like this is the time to bring it all. And won't say yet, but like I've just got a lot of stuff ordered for like ambience and stuff like that, but with theatrics, but we'll see. And we're bringing the full size drum kit. What do you say? It's got like 11 cymbals on it. Wow. It's huge, a big rack, and everything's there. We're gonna see if the church is fine with it, but if possible, would like Madre Tortura to do confession for hunters on the day. So if anybody wants to bring a big bag of cans in and confess their sins, we'll see what's going on.
Well, Buckfast will make you spill out any secrets or sins, Madre. So if you see any lads, and there'll be plenty of those boys with the Buckfast, I'm sure they'll only be queuing up.
I think that's 15 Hail Marys for Buckfast already.
And the support acts, Horrenda, you're actually going to be playing with them, aren't you, as well, in the future?
No, November.
November, yeah.
I completely forgot that we booked that gig until it was announced.
Wow. Okay.
It had to get moved a lot.
Okay.
And then when it got announced, I was like, I forgot that we were doing that, but it's going to be really, really good. Yeah, Horrenda are on that with Imperial Demonic. Sorry,
Imperial Demonic. Is it Nevni? Is it
Nevni?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Imperial Demonic because it's basically members of Overoff.
Yes.
With, Gals from Stone plays bass in it, and there's like several different members. So I know that they're all very good musicians from all different.
Oh
bands.
yeah, I mean, like
they're gonna be. I'm getting worried for us. Like they're very, very, very good players.
Yeah. I mean, following Horrenda anyway down, especially in Cork. Like I mean, these lads certainly bring it. I thought they were amazing at the Siege. I've seen them a few times now, and every time I see them, they just seem to be getting better and better. I actually met Mark and Darren over at Brutal Assault. Shout out to the lads. I couldn't believe it. They were walking towards me, and I was just going, am I seeing things here? Like, and you haven't seen Ever Deadwood before, I'm presuming, or Hersine, have you?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
No, we have played with Horrenda before several times. They're real good lads.
Yeah. So as I said, it's a Relapse promotion. Shout out to James O'Mahony who reached out to me, and is on the 27th, which is next Saturday in St. Peter's Church, Cork. So hopefully there'll be a big turnout for that. Now, future gigs as well. You've got something coming up as well, I think, with the Distortion project. James, is it Uncultured Night?
Yeah, that's I can't remember the
23rd of
date.
September.
September.
23rd of
23rd.
September. You're
Yeah.
spot on, Madre. Yeah. 7.5 tons of beard, Elder Druid, yourselves, and Insidious Void.
Yeah.
Another very strong lineup.
Yeah, well, I think so far we're going to get that, and then with the thing with all the black metal bands in November, and we haven't really pushed ahead the book much yet separately, because we just need to pull together what we're going to do with the relaunch of this album and new material, and then really get stuck in with releases. Plus, like myself and Lee, our drummer, we also play in Waylanders, so there's a lot of stuff next year with that that we're very flat out with, so we'll have to worry about we can't overlap too much and sort of work around each other. You know?
Yeah, and better give a shout out to Tommy and Chris in the band. And so, yeah, you've got a busy few months ahead of you, and it's just really a balancing act now, I suppose, at this stage, Saul, is it, as you said, just to kind of get a few gigs under the belt and sort out a proper launch for the album and new material as well.
Yeah, because also a Waylander, we're finishing up a new album as well at the minute, so I'm getting both bands mixed up a lot. Every time I'm going, we're like recording Waylander stuff, I'm playing a load of black metal, and then with the Drakonis stuff we're writing, and it's like people go, no, that's too folk metal, and I'm like, I can't. It's all one now. I just can't. I need to just put a big bag of riffs, and the band's just picked from it.
Yeah.
And
Madre, have you been down in Cork before?
I have. Actually, I have, but as a tourist. So it was a lot of years ago, and I think it's time for a refresher.
Yeah, cool. And Saul, you played. When did you last play Cork? Just trying to think there. It was.
I think it Reds just sort of before that first lockdown. Sort of thing.
It was, wasn't it? Wasn't it with Paranoid Beast? Was it?
Yeah, I think so. Because remember, yeah, that was our last show, and then there was just lockdown happened and stuff, and it was just like,
yeah,
was that 2019 maybe? I don't know.
It would have been, yeah, it would have been. Mm-hmm. And you in the band themselves, you like coming down? I know it's a bit of a journey, but like you always get a great reception down in Cork anyway.
Yeah, it was real surprising. The first time we played Cork was what do you call it? Urban Assault.
Yes, that's right. I was at that. Yeah.
And no one really knew who we were, and then it was just I've never had. There's something about Cork. I've never witnessed a more supportive scene for like within metal anywhere I've ever been. It was crazy because by the time I got off the stage and turned on my phone, our Instagram and stuff went absolutely insane, and something like 17 people live streamed us live, going, "Holy fuck, who's this band?" And then we sold like €200 worth of merch within 10 minutes as we came off, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
I was like, "These guys don't even know who we are," but it was just the sort of like warmth and openness down there was like incredible. You don't really get that many other places.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a big support for the scene down here, and you know, always bands, especially from Northern Ireland, that make the effort to come down they always get a great welcome. You know, I don't know how many times the lads have been on the show, The Crawling, Sky Pilot, and all them. They all enjoy coming down and playing. You know.
Yeah.
But this time is different, though. As I said, it's a church, a 12th century church, man. It's just going to be really unique, and I hope people show up and give it the credit it deserves, because I'd say there's a lot of hard work went in to it for this to make it happen, because obviously gigs like this don't normally happen.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring like the cameras coming and the GoPros and stuff, because if there's ever a gig to collect footage for a music video, it's this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Madre, are you bringing down fans with you, or is there many traveling?
No, actually, not myself.
Okay.
Not from my own side, but I mean, I've tried promoting the show, but a lot of people say it's very far, and
Yeah.
Well, my friend's coming, the one that's back from Australia for the first time in 5 years.
Nice.
So he's coming down, and he's never seen the band before. So I think it's the only reason he's going to make the trip, because who knows when it's going to happen again.
And I presume, Saul, by the sounds of it, you're going to have to play that fantastic game called Van Tetris with all the gear.
Probably, yeah, because the kit's big. I don't know how big this van is yet. We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a van and a car. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
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 You're going to have to rent the van, I presume, is it?
Well, we have arrangements.
We have arrangements. Okay, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Well, there's things to put in, because like we'll finally get to have, we have a big pulpit that glows and stuff. So at least that's coming. We haven't been able to get that out in years, and there's an excuse
Professional
right now.
time.
Yeah, that's great. So lads, thanks again for coming on the show. Can't wait to see what you have planned for Cork. And as I said, it's the 27th, next Saturday night, St. Peter's Church in Cork. Shout out again to James and all the crew at Relapse for making this happen. And it's bring your own beer. So it's going to be good, man. It's going to be really good, really interesting. And as I said, great lineup with Horrenda, Ever Deadwood and Hursing. Okay, so that's it. You've been listening to Saul and Madre from Drakonis, and crucially, support your local metal scene.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, lads.
Thank you.